Well, hello everyone. Here to show you the Tooth Fairy story. Coloring right here is this coloring activity right here. As you see right here, is I went ahead and drew a picture right here of say of an example of a tooth it is, in which most of us, I'm sure, if you remember whenever you were young, it is a young kid, and if you've ever lost a tooth or maybe about maybe 4 or 5 teeth. I remember a couple of times that my mom took me to the dentist. It was, I think, my dad too took me to the dentist, and they would take me. My parents would take me to the dentist a couple of times, and knowing about the fact that once or twice that I would, if I had a tooth that got loose or whatever you call it, that more likely. Of those couple of times that if I were to have a loose tooth, that have my mom pull it, and then a couple of times that it's like that. That I remember that one time that I was in my bedroom at one time, and she told me to lay down, and she's gonna go ahead and try to get the tooth out, because at one time that could not get me into the dentist right away, or what I think something was going on to the point to where that I think either it was that not enough money to go at the time, or whatever it was that caused that I could not get into the dentist office right away. So she went ahead and pulled the tooth, and then of course brought me into the dentist about afterwards it was that brought me into the dentist to have me checked out. But I remember that whenever I would lose a tooth, that I would put it underneath the bed for the tooth fairy to come in. It's like, so if I was just talking about what the tooth fairy it is you probably think about, some people probably think about, really, is there any such thing as what you call as a tooth fairy? But on your hand too, that knowing about that I haven't lost a tooth in years, but on your end too, I really don't really even know really if I would go maybe into a whole lot of details about the fact about if there's really such thing as this or that. But one thing I am going to more talk about is knowing about is that there is such thing as what you call is that for me just me Matt, it's like talking about, it's like draw out, it's like knowing about what I think more likely a tooth fairy looks like. It's like knowing about is that if it's besides say maybe an Easter bunny, but it could be, it's like this little creature, this little say fairy. It is like talking about, it's like if you have like what you call, and with most tooth fairies, if most of them are female, or if they're male, it is you have like what your hair so you got the legs right here, and then of course as you have is it to where that they have like so you go ahead and draw like is the arm right here, and then you have I guess you got the hand right here. If they were to have a hand, they would come out, reach out, and they say is to retrieve the tooth it is. And then of course you have right here is like a magic wand it is. They would have a little wand that would spread. It's like magical dust it is, knowing about the fact about you lose a tooth, and then you earn money. It's like whenever you lose a tooth it is. But on your hand too, that knowing about the fact that with most of the time that you probably think about the tooth came out, and then some kids who may think about that whenever the tooth came out, but then really you're not really going to lose it anyway, because of the fact of put it underneath your bed for the tooth fairy to come by and get it, and then of course knowing about with me is like if I can remember what year it was the last time I remember the tooth fairy coming by. It's like would have probably been about early 1993, something like that. You say is the last time I lost a tooth. It was. Some people probably think about is like that really with kids, whenever they lose teeth, it is half the time you begin to wonder if maybe they're just eating too many jawbreakers, or maybe not brushing their teeth as often. But a lot of dentists would probably think about is that whenever kids lose their teeth, it is knowing about the fact about what does that usually mean. That more likely it usually means like it's maybe older teeth. It's like they tend to lose teeth maybe whenever adult teeth starts growing in, and then of course, it could be the fact about that maybe at times that they're not brushing as often as they should be, or something like that. But just to know is like talking about is the details about the Tooth Fairy story, is knowing about. I don't know if I would say that there's no such thing as the Tooth Fairy. It is. No, so if I was explaining it to the kids, it is that more likely that there is such thing as what you call is knowing about, is feeling special about the fact that if you do if the tooth does come out, or maybe the fact about that something related to the fact about that a spoonful of sugar or something like that will have the medicine go down. It's like something that maybe made in your favorite flavor, whatever it is. I don't know if I can really explain in 5 minutes about what I'm talking about, but one thing I could maybe explain about is the fact that whenever a tooth does come out, a lot of times that it usually, the way I would probably think about it, the way I usually look at it, is that you put the tooth inside of a pillow, inside of an envelope underneath your pillow. It is, and then that you sleep on it, and then so you rest your head on the pillow, and you wake up the next morning, and then there's money inside of the envelope. It is, and some kids may wonder about how much money usually that they see in there. And I remember back then that if I can remember seeing inside of the envelope, it was probably about I think 73 cents. I think at the time about 73 cents, something like that. You got right here for 73, and then if you take that, multiply that times 2, if it happens maybe 2 times maybe 2 or 3 times, so maybe a year or something like that. But other than that, it's like for 73 cents, for 70, see, I did plus. I would think it would be more than that. But anyway, do 73. Yes, you're 73. You say times 2. It is. It's like knowing about how much, how many times maybe you lost a tooth or anything like that. But 146, it would be something like that, about $1.46, or and I can remember that whenever I would lose a tooth, a lot of times that the money that I got, that with most parents you could probably think about is like between the story between, you say, maybe a guardian angel or anything like that. But to talk about what they say was a Tooth Fairy story is to know about the fact is like I guess the important part to remember, of course, if it's your tooth, and then knowing about the fact about it came out, how did it come out? Like, well, some people may think that that they got popped in the mouth and that just popped out. Some people may think that actually, I went ahead and I hit my face on a rock, and that's how it came out, or I got in a fight with somebody, whatever it is. And some people I say that it's like knowing about, be good about with the Tooth Fairy, because to know about the fact about the tooth it's got to be handled and say in the proper way. It's like for those, for that magical moment that happened to where that knowing about that whenever if you were to if the tooth were to come out, it's just to know. It's like a good way to describe. Of course, it's like the story is say about the Tooth Fairy. The Tooth Fairy story is knowing about between imaginable and unimaginable. It is, and just knowing about the fact about that. Just remember that. Say on your toothbrush it is. On your toothbrush it is to know. It's like take good care of your teeth. To remember about the fact that if you take good care of your teeth, then more likely that they'll make your mouth look good. It is, along say with a smile. You'll be able to put a smile on your face. And then a lot of times with them, you see on a lot of the times on those commercials, it's knowing about that. They go ahead and let's see here, go ahead and use as the blue, but to go ahead and add, like you say, maybe some blue teeth right here as an example. A lot of times you say, use white, but on the iron too, that you would see like little sparkling stars, shining. You say on one of those commercials, it is like, ding. But other than that, it's talking about, it's like the stuff between brushing and flossing every day, and talking about, it's like, for so far as the Tooth Fairy story.